Bitcoin has officially been liberated from its downtrend as it has officially crossed $87,000. We're seeing a little bit of a pullback right now, but today should be a fairly volatile day. We're going to talk to you about how we plan on seizing today and potentially making some money and trades. We have some news on the tariffs, what that's going to be. Also, massive news in the stablecoin space from Avalanche, from Fidelity, from Sony. We're going to talk a little bit about Ripple and their RLUSD and a potential stablecoin bill that could change the entire game and integrate crypto into the traditional markets faster than anyone ever anticipated. We have that and much, much more on today's episode of Sin City Crypto. Let's go.
Hola! It's your boy Big Rob back in the house. Welcome to Sin City Crypto, home of the entertainment and price prediction focused cryptocurrency channel. Take old, boring, stale information. We do it in a fun and sexy Las Vegas kind of way. You know what? I thought to myself today, what a day to be right about everything.
Funny, because you thought to yourself again yesterday, remember?
But today, I realized I am a price prediction savant genius.
Wow, you're such a savant. Wow.
I had said 77 confidently at the time of the drop was it. And everyone else was like, well, 74, no 70, might go down to 60s. You know, bull market is invalidated. You know what? The top was in. There's a lot of chatter. I held strong in my beliefs. I said, hey, look, not today. 77,000. That was the bottom. And I even said, guys, look to long, hide your liquidation under 77,000 at say 76, 75. And you could comfortably ride the rest of this year out with whatever profits you want. Don't cash out till 2026. How you doing?
Wow. I'm curious if you consider Rob your boy. Put a 1 in the chat. Also, I do have a poll up. I'm trying to figure out what to do here. Will you be tuning in to the Trump tariff press conference at 4 p.m. Eastern? It's a yes or no vote. So far, 82% of you said yes. And I'll tell you why I put that poll up a little later. Now, before I get started, I want to give a big shout out to our friends over at Billy Goat Tales. Their brand new children's book is on Amazon. We just got our copies today. This one was written by Redman. So congrats to you, Redman. If you guys don't have one, their first book was awesome. This book is equally awesome. Go buy it. It's on Amazon. Just type in Billy Goat Tales, or if Billy Goat Tales is in here, feel free to drop a link in there. I'll pin it to the top of the comment section. So big shout out to you guys. Highly recommend you go get it, especially if you have kids. Very, very well put together. So big shout out and congrats to our friends over at Billy Goat Tales. All right. Let's talk a little bit about this. Rocco, pull up my laptop. So a little bit of tariff update, tariff news. Today is Liberation Day. We are going to be liberated. Report.
Calm down.
Interesting choice of words. Report leaked from Sky News. Tariffs will be based by country and industry with 3 bands of 10, 15, and 20%. And again, that press conference at 4 p.m. Eastern, we should get a lot more clarity there. And then we have this Mexican President Sheinbaum says Mexico will not impose retaliatory tariffs on the U.S., favoring negotiation over confrontation. She said, an eye for an eye always leads to a bad situation. And then we have this as well. Canada agrees to remove all tariffs if the U.S. does. And so leading up to today, we kind of talked about this potentially happening, negotiations happening behind the scenes. Leading up to today, well, today is here. What kind of talks and negotiations leading up to 4 p.m. Eastern, and what kind of announcements could we get? I think we're going to see a lot of volatility if he comes out there and says, hey, we've come to an agreement with Mexico, with Canada, with Europe, with China, whoever, that we're going to hold off on the tariffs. We're not going to do tariffs. I think the markets are going to absolutely explode. You saw kind of a snapshot of that this morning as this trade scenario that we put out yesterday. So if you're watching yesterday, we talked about this exact scenario playing out. This cup and handle with the handle getting down, catching support at that 84.1, which is exactly what it did. Now, this is on Bitstamp. And so there was a scam wick down here, but every other exchange, we didn't get that wick. So disregard that long wick. But the very next candle on the 4-hour, we got that perfect bounce off of that 84.1 level. And then price did exactly what we thought it did. And now the important level here that we're sitting at, my friends, is 86.5. If we can stay above 86.5, I will be more open to the idea that the bottom is in. And so, yeah. What are your thoughts on today's press conference, Robin? Are you also expecting a lot of volatility? And you plan on making any money with this volatility, or you think it's too uncertain to...
I am just always very weary of a market rally prior to big news. I feel like it always reverses. And the same is true on the other end, on the other direction, right? I think that if you find yourself a scenario where markets are selling off, there's this terrible news is around the corner, or this terrible event's about to happen, then the event comes and, well, the opposite tends to happen. And so...
This looks really good on the screen.
Yeah.
Listen, I've been asking about what you're using on the bottom. That's Market Cipher.
That's Market Cipher B, yeah.
Okay. All right. There is a link on the description, right?
No. I actually reached out to CryptoFace to see if we can get an affiliate link. We don't have one. But
okay. Because
even if
I got people asking
one, but if you want to get it before then, just go to marketcipher.com.
Okay.
You can get it.
Yeah. But what was I talking about?
So you're weary?
Oh.
Market's been pumping?
Oh yeah, so when you have a big event coming up and the markets have a big move
you sound
prior,
scared, bro.
I'm just telling you how I normally go in. I mean, how many times have we seen it? This is going to be really bullish for crypto. You see the market's pumping. It's going to be really bullish. Here comes the event, lackluster, whatever it is, sells off. It happens time and time again, man. And that's just the reality of it. And so NASDAQ's up 1%. The price of Bitcoin is up from, what was it? Where was it at yesterday? Yesterday it was at 84,000. During our show, it was down to 83 briefly. You look at the 1 week here. I mean, we're up from 81,000. I don't know, man. I mean, what bullish news can Donald Trump say today?
We've come to an agreement with Canada, Mexico, and Europe. We are not going to do tariffs. They're actually going to drop our tariffs as their tariffs on us as well, meaning we can sell more product into the country. We'll be more competitive. That would be pretty damn bullish. The markets would 100% rally. And got to remember, 4:30 Eastern, actually stock market closed at 4 Eastern. So he's doing the press conference right after it closes. Yeah, 6:30 to 1:30 Pacific time, or 6:30 to 1. Okay. And so I don't know why I thought it would go on 30 minutes into the market. But either way, you're going to get some people that maybe get some info, maybe get a glimpse of his speech and what's written down on the piece of paper and into the teleprompter. You start seeing the markets move. But we know how volatile the stock market is the last 30 minutes and the first 30 minutes of the open and the close, respectively. And so I expect volatility. And again, we just don't know what conversations have been had in the back rooms with these countries. We already saw, again, I shared with you guys, Canada said, we'll drop them if you drop them. Mexico said, we're not going to do retaliatory tariffs. We're going to try to negotiate. What are the conversations they're having, and what is he going to reveal at that press conference? I think it's going to be a lot bigger than a lot of people think it is. I think the market's going to react.
My genuine curiosity here is in regards to is the Mercedes price going to be affected? Because I'm looking to trade my car and get a new Mercedes. And so if I got to pay the 25% markup, I can't get the regular peasant class. I got to go AMG all the way, handmade in Germany. And so am I going to get hit with a 25% tax? I don't know. And I'm genuinely concerned. So I'll be staying extra close attention to the press conference, find out what's going on in Germany, what's going on with my Benzes.
What's wrong with you?
I'm genuinely concerned. The sad part is, I'm being honest here too.
All right, Rob, let's look at the markets.
All right.
Mercedes stock, just the markets. Okay, guy? Crypto.
Okay. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, so let's take a peek. As we mentioned, Bitcoin, nice little rally today. Ethereum Lo and behold, still at 1,800.
Here we go.
There it is.
Here we go.
We'll just keep moving on. And then you also got XRP flat. XRP is down 10% on the week though. And so when you go down the list of projects that are down the most on the week and the top 20, Doge is down, but Doge and XRP are really the only thing down in double digits in the last 7 days, which, take that what you will. The biggest gainers today, you got EOS, Radium, and a few others up. EOS is up 20%. Everything else is around 5%. Now, going into the biggest gainers on the week, Toncoin up 10%, EOS up 42%, and then we have some losers today as well. So WorldCoin down 7%, down 17% on the week. What's your vibe on WorldCoin? You think that has any chance of rally or comeback this bull market?
Only because of OpenAI and Sam Altman. That's the only reason.
It's interesting because this is his first cycle, right? So we don't have a historical bull market cycle to look at. It wasn't around in 2021. And so at face value, this is pretty ugly chart, right?
There's certain projects where you just bet on the person. Honestly, it's like if Elon Musk launched a crypto project.
But this isn't Sam Altman's project. It's not like his baby.
It's his adopted kid.
Yeah, it's like
that's still worth something.
I don't know. I mean, I've never heard him talk about it. Okay, like you look at I think he had like one keynote speech where he talked about it. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but with WorldCoin, okay, like look at Tesla or look at Elon Musk. All of his companies and all of his endeavors, he goes out and talks about it passionately.
Yes.
Right. He talks about Tesla. He talks about his AI model, Grok. He talks about SpaceX. He talks about the Boring Company, everything, right? The Optimus robots and Neuralink, X, everything that he is doing, everything that he is launching, that he is a part of, he is actively engaging and talking about it. Sam Altman does the same thing. However, he is only doing it on OpenAI. I haven't really heard him come out and talk about WorldCoin. Now, if he was, that'd be a different story. So I don't really put much behind WorldCoins and its association with Sam Altman, at least not currently. Maybe he comes around a little bit later and says, hey, you know what? Does CryptoCoin go out and buy it? If he were to say something like that, then perhaps. But you know what? The man's already got some fraud issues over his head. I don't think he wants to even touch his own WorldCoin. I think he's just trying to hide in the shadows as this thing grows. Because his company, OpenAI, is supposed to be a nonprofit company, and yet this guy has a brand new McLaren and a new Bugatti driving around California. If it's nonprofit, where did that money come from?
Nonprofits can still pay executives. Right?
Yeah, but that's the whole point.
Real quick.
But if you're getting paid, if you're a nonprofit and you're getting paid, a Bugatti costs like $4 million.
I woke up in a new Bugatti. Listen, here's what I'm saying. Unless you're like already filthy rich, what?
What was that?
I woke up in a new Bugatti. Never heard that song? Rocco, you're not in the hip hop world, bro. You wouldn't get it.
What do you mean?
Is there hip hop in Italy? No. Anyways, what I'm trying to say.
We invented hip hop. Everything comes from there.
Is there hip hop in Italy? Like that's your comeback?
Listen.
Like, what do you think they like listen to? What do you think they got like accordions over there in Italy?
Just come out of the. I was in a cave for 3,000 years.
Everyone's got harmonicas.
There we go. We don't have a JC. Oh my God. Puff Daddy, where are you?
Puff Daddy. Wow.
Yeah.
You know Rocco's old when he's.
We don't have a Puff Daddy in Italy.
It's Diddy now, Rocco, and he's in jail. Yeah. Anyways, I forgot what I was saying now.
Want to ask how they call him in jail now?
I have no idea.
I have no idea what I was saying either. What I do want to say, though, it's really nice to wake up in the morning and know that you were able to pay your wife's car payment for 2 months with one trade in 30 minutes. It was pretty cool. We put this trade in yesterday during the trading show. And so if you were there watching and you maybe, of course, I'm not a financial advisor, so shouldn't do what I tell you to do, but you should at least look at what I do and say, is this something that I can also do? And if you did, would have been a nice profit. Now to revisit that trade, what we were looking at for Chainlink was a retrace back to our golden pocket. And this is Link. I think we're on the 4 hour, I believe. 4 hour. Let's see where we're at. Yeah, we're on the 4 hour. So we're looking at this yesterday, okay? So I still have our drawings on there, right? We had this inverse head and shoulders that we expected, and it broke out, came back down. Now we were waiting for a retest of our golden pocket here, which we did. That was our entry. And I told you guys yesterday, I'm going to put it right at the 618 level, which was 1343. It got filled, and then Chainlink rallied again with volume. This is what we saw last time where I told you guys, hey, this move here off of the golden pocket, we saw volume breaking out of it, and we saw volume again. So guess what I'm going to do again? Put in another limit order for a long on Chainlink at $13.43. And I'll look to make another 2 car payments worth of money for my wife's car. And so if you're interested in trading, join our Discord, man. It's a lot of fun stuff in there. But anyways, but we did take a big L on we took like a $600 L on our Bitcoin short, but we made twice that back in one trade. So that's the name of the game, baby. As long as you're winning more trades from a nominal value perspective versus losing, then it's all good. Robin, what else did you have on the markets? That was it?
Yeah.
Your market segments are very short. Do you not like the markets?
No, I don't like the markets.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Anything you saw on that list that you feel like was undervalued? You look at, and you only have the 7-day going. I have the 90-day. So you look at the 90-day.
I gotta go with AVAX, man. Now it's because the gun token that went live. I think that is the gun token. Also, you got Bitcoin rallying at the same time. Kind of like a perfect storm here, right? You're gonna have a big Web3 push, a lot of NFT assets from a video game system that are going to be cashed in. So there's going to be I would expect a lot of volume on Avalanche. And if you get a big surge in volume while Bitcoin's price is rallying at the same time, it's a recipe for big X's, right? And so I wouldn't be surprised to see AVAX run from its about $20 range and find itself over in that $30 range. I'd expect within the next 3 weeks, AVAX, 50% gain, $20 to $30. Heard it here. What did I call yesterday? I called yesterday. Oh, yesterday was Caspa. How's Caspa doing? I was mentioning Caspa as a great entry point yesterday. I was like, look, guys, Caspa, which is down today. Okay. It's still a good spot. I know yesterday I was telling you guys, hey, I'm eyeballing Caspa at,
You know what?
6.5 cents. And so I think that you're going to have another entry. It's going against the trend. Caspa's down 2% on the day. And I don't know. I think Caspa and AVAX. I would say if I had to pick one, I'd go with AVAX just because it has a really big narrative. That people don't realize the value of it, right? It's not a secret that the gun token and off the grid game that has at one point it had 1 million daily transactions in the game itself, right? For its testnet ecosystem where assets are moving around, people are buying and selling. There was 1 million transactions. Not quite as high now. There's not as many players, but still very popular game. Wouldn't be surprised to see Avalanche.
No, Robin, there's a few things that you can put perfect. And well, this I think is I just put in a long order on AVAX, by the way. Why? Take a look at this. So AVAX on the 1 hour. On Market Cypher B, we have our anchor and our trigger wave with a green dot. That is a buy signal, but I don't just go off of one indicator, one signal, right? Then I look at the chart and look at the 1 hour. Inverse head and shoulders coming in, breakout, and we're here on a retest right at that neckline. And so I put in a long order, and here is the order, and we're already in the green. This is AVAX 10x long. Entry point was $19.31. It's a $1,500 $1,500 times 10, so about $15,000, and it's already moving up.
Do me a favor.
No.
If this thing breaks out above, say, $22, don't close it until it hits $28.
Why?
It's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna pull back.
I gotta take profits, dog.
Oh, I know. I know you like to close trades quick.
Why are you trying to harm me, bro?
I'm just telling you that there's great fundamentals going on here when it comes to Web3 and off the grid, and I think that it's going to be something that.
Oh, you think that's news? Wait till I show you the news on Avalanche today. And I'm actually looks like 25.84 would be my exit. This is the POC from our range we had from April 10th through April 2024 through November of 2024. That's where we had a lot of consolidation for AVAX. We came back, tapped our value area low, and our POC is sitting right at 25.90. And so that's probably where I'm going to exit my trade. But then again, I'm also very fluid. If I sit there and I'm on a 25% gain and I think the markets are going to turn, I have zero problem closing out that trade, taking my 25% and moving on to the next one. Zero problem doing that. You got an inverse head and shoulders playing out on the daily too. So things are looking good for AVAX. This is your shoulder, this is your head, and you have the shoulder coming up. Bam. So AVAX chart is looking bullish, man. And this move actually, if you were to measure the depth of the head, breakout from the neckline is $30. So we'll see how the trade works out. Come join me. Oh, damn, we're in the red. Damn it, we're losing. All jokes aside, though, come join me in the afternoon stream, and we'll check in on this AVAX trade. But since you brought up Avalanche there, Rob, let's talk about this. This is massive, massive news. Ready?
Sure.
Okay. Sorry, Rob. Avalanche is partnering with one of Japan's largest bank, Sumitomo Mitsui Banking Corporation, also known as SMBC, to develop a framework for stablecoin issuance and circulation. We will evaluate use cases for stablecoins together, including tokenized real-world assets such as bonds and real estate. This is the press release from the bank with a lot of names. Summary of the agreement. SMBC Group, TIS, AVA Labs, and Fireblocks have formally agreed to commence joint discussions on the future commercialization and utilization of stablecoins. This agreement will see SMBC, Fireblocks, AVA Labs, and TIS collaborate to develop a framework for stablecoin issuance and circulation, including exploring key technical, regulatory, and market infrastructure requirements, both in Japan and further afield. This joint discussion will not only focus on pilot projects, but will aim to concretely define use cases for ongoing business applications. Additionally, the initiative will examine potential use cases that leverage the defining features of stablecoins, including, listen to this, as a settlement method for tokenized financial and real-world assets, such as government and corporate bonds, as well as real estate. My friends, we are talking about, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, the third largest economy in the world, correct? Japan?
Yes.
One of their top banks, $1.6 trillion, has partnered with Avalanche to launch a stablecoin and then also to leverage it for RWA and tokenization. And Avalanche is down. Interesting times. This is to me, this is massive news, dude. You know, we talk about this shit all the time. Oh, the nation states adopting, blah, blah, blah. This is literally the third largest economy in the world, and they've chosen to work with AVA Labs. Not the country, but one of the largest financial institutions within that country. What are your thoughts?
Pretty big. You know, I think a lot of people, okay, here's the thing. I get wrapped up in Web3 quite often. When we're concerning AVAX, but there's so much more, right? I think they're one of the strongest government plays, right? And, you know, banking and government. And their stablecoin ecosystem is pretty diverse, right? So you have bridge stablecoins. Yeah, you have DAI, Tether, USDC. You can bridge over to ETH. Avalanche is plugged into the Cosmos SDK, which gives it a bridge access, a secured bridge access to the Ethereum network as well, along with a host of others. Also, they have native stablecoins that can be minted right there on the AVAX chain, which once again is the same. USDC. You also have Circle and a list of other projects as well. They even have yuan-backed stablecoin as well. Now, what does this mean? The thing is that retail moves a little slow. So, banks and countries move at snail's pace. We know that banking is not something that's easily changed. Things take time to mature, and which it makes sense because you don't want to take on too much risk and try to break stuff when you're talking about banking. But I think in the short term, the bullish narrative for me, this gun token, keep an eye out. In the long term, tokenization of real world assets. They're also a big leader. Where are they at on RWAs? I think like number 5, something like that. I know they're in the top 5 for RWAs, or at least right outside of that. They have a prominent space there. They also have a list of ETF applications as well. And so, I mean, from a perspective, like, what would you want from a layer 1? You would want RWAs. You would want an active and robust and diverse stablecoin ecosystem. Has that. Speed. Has some kind of niche that would gravitate retail to, I think, which is the gaming. They have ETF applications. They have all the liquidity. They're on all the exchanges that you would, pretty much everybody has Avalanche as an option to buy. And, they've cleared a lot of regulatory hurdles as well. So it checks every box for me, man. It checks every box. Is there anything that you would say that Avalanche is lacking? Maybe DeFi, I guess, would be maybe the one harp on it. I think it's probably the farthest behind.
You're talking about
farthest behind other competitors, I guess.
You're talking about the 2 largest, in my opinion, 2 of the 3 largest narratives, verticals, which is gaming, or not gaming, RWA and stablecoins. And Avalanche is consistently onboarding mass institutions and enterprises there. Gaming, cherry on top. AI, cherry on top. DeFi, not really known for DeFi. I'm not saying it doesn't have an ecosystem, but when you think DeFi, people usually say ETH or Solana. But still, another cherry on top. And so it's hard to fade Avalanche. And so if you're sitting and looking at it at under $20 for a project that's doing all this, I don't understand how anyone could be bearish. And to answer your question, here you have, so there's different kind of niches in RWA, right? Here is stablecoin niche. It's around 7, ranked number 7 of the networks. U.S. Treasuries, it is currently ranked under networks at number 5.
Yeah, that's where I was at for the RWA.
Global bonds, though, ranked number 3, with around 6.6 million. And then you have private credit, commodities, institutional funds.
Yeah, so I mean, they got the RWAs on the important ones, right? Right. When you talk about RWAs, you want to talk about treasuries and bonds, and that's they're leading that set.
Overall, they're ranked number 8. Overall.
Yeah, but that's a big. There's a big leverage on stable coins in there, right? Is that?
This is everything.
That's what I mean.
Global bonds, treasuries, private credit, stablecoin.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we look back at this moment. I think I even tweeted that, right? Look back at this. Where was it? Tweeted that today on AVAX. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Here we go. This is post today. Bookmark it. We're gonna go back and look at this. I promise you. And I will come in just like I did this show today, and I'll say, "Told you, told you, told you." It is time. Mark this date and say, damn it, why didn't I buy AVAX? There you go.
We haven't done any new name shout-outs here lately, Rob. You got a list there that you want to butcher?
I have a small list. You know what? I just haven't seen a lot of new names. We do have Xio.xi, Joel, Chipper, and then yeah, that's it, man. Everyone else is familiar here, dude.
You know, Robin.
If you are new, say hello. We'd love to give you a shout out.
I want your honor.
Hola!
Sorry. Hey, Rob, saying hello to names and then cut you off. That was rude. I apologize. Now, you're a chef. I want your opinion on this, Robin. Is this something that if you were working at Gordon Ramsay said, I want to do this at the restaurant, Rob, make it happen. Is this something you would push back on, or are you all for this? Is this like a new wave of food here? Just slam the French fries in the middle of the burger bun, and it's like the bun is like a cup, You know, for the fries, or you can eat them all together. You can pick them out one by one, and then you have a hole in your bun. What are your thoughts here?
Now we're gonna microwave them.
I'm trying to figure out why he's steaming the buns, because now you're gonna have like, what's the worst part of a hamburger is after the juices have leaked out, and like if you don't eat a hamburger you wait too long, that the bottom bun is all soggy, it turns into like the sponge.
I don't like it.
Yeah, like wet sponge. This is just disgusting. So I'm just trying to figure out like why are they steaming it and then covering it? You're gonna have
Maximum flavor.
no maximum soggy bun, bro. That's. Is there chicken tenders on the inside?
There is. Yeah.
Then he asked me about hip
Now
hop.
we're gonna microwave
Come
them.
on.
You know, what's up, Rocco? What do you think about this here?
And only David can like something like that.
I didn't say I like it.
Yeah, you wanted some yogurt and Doritos on top of it.
Hey, Doritos and yogurt is.
And then the same time you dance with the hip hop.
You're just jealous you can't
You know,
dance like
the,
that.
the problem with like gourmet
making fun of
burgers
me.
or like burgers or Trinity
at this.
burgers that you always see is that they always go higher. I would always say like make the burgers wider.
How am I supposed to fit my mouth around that thing?
You know, there's no way you could bite down on this thing. Like you don't have a wide enough mouth. I would just say go wider on the burger instead of going up.
There is one girl. She's Italian. She's not Italian actually.
Okay.
Her husband's Italian, and she has a cooking channel, and she's got the widest mouth I've ever seen. She could definitely dog one of these for sure. Anyways, I just figured, our in-house chef, very
his husband is
a lot of very accomplished. So thoughts? Looks like Rob is a no on this one. We were gonna serve those at our party, but I guess we're not anymore. That was like all right. So I mentioned stable coins with AVAX. It's not just AVAX that is doing it. It is also Sony. You see the theme here? Asia, Japan, Sony from South Korea, I believe. South Korea or Japan. Anyway, Sony begins accepting USDC payments in its Singapore online store. Sony Electronics Singapore has integrated crypto payments in partnership with crypto exchange Crypto.com, where you'll be able to buy things on their website with USDC. So the stablecoin integration into people's everyday lives is just around the corner, with lawmakers on Capitol Hill expecting a stablecoin law to go into place in the next month to 2 months. That would be absolutely massive. You have some big news coming out of Fidelity. Fidelity launches no-fee retirement plan for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin investments.
Hold on. Hold the presses. Excuse me. I need to interrupt you. So Sony,
Hold the presses.
Sony is not just launching a stablecoin, but we also have new electric car coming out. Move aside, Elon. Sony is now threw their hat in the ring, and here you have their new electric car prototype. And so, will you be buying a Sony with your Sony stablecoin? That is the real question here. What do you think, David?
I will not.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Will you?
Consider it.
Oh, man. Okay, so anyways, back to Fidelity. Thanks for that, Robin. Really important you share that news. Fidelity, I got to read the headline again, launches no-fee retirement plan for Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum investments. The plan, which is offered without fees, enables investors to allocate funds into these digital assets through a Roth IRA, traditional IRA, or a rollover IRA. The assets are custodied by Fidelity and stored in a cold wallet, ensuring security. Rob, we're talking about a multi-trillion dollar, specifically $6 trillion asset manager that is going to do what I Trust Capital really in our space has really had the kind of chokehold in market share in that industry. And you're seeing big giants now like Fidelity stepping in. What are your thoughts?
I was thinking, what does that mean for I Trust Capital? I was thinking about that this morning. Because, if they're going no fee, right? It's kind of like the BlackRock effect, right? Where for ETFs, you say, hey, we're going to have, 0.25? I don't know if they're still locked in at that price.
BlackRock?
But they ultimately undercut everyone else by bringing in the lowest amount of fees for their Bitcoin ETF. And ultimately, who's the largest ETF holder now when it comes to Bitcoin, it's, well, BlackRock. And I think that Fidelity's doing the same here because ultimately you're passing on revenue in one sector to onboard a customer. And I think that this is a problem when big companies come in for the crypto companies, right? So if you're a crypto only company, you got to make your money. But if crypto ain't your only thing and you're in part of finance like Fidelity and you launch a retirement plan and it's no fee at all, then you can say, hey, we won't make money in this vertical, but we'll onboard new users. And in turn, they'll also have retirement accounts that also have exposure to gold and also have exposure to the indices and other sectors. And we'll make money that way. Kind of like Costco will outbid anybody's hot dog price or grilled chicken price, because they don't make money on that. They actually lose money, but they know that people come in for a hot dog, but they'll end up spending $250 on the smallest basket of groceries ever. And so,
so true. My wife's like, when can we go to Costco? I'm like, let me put in a trade real quick.
The sad part about Costco is that when you're when you leave with not that much stuff, you're like, all right, I'm gonna be responsible today. Because if you go all in and you fill that basket up, you're at $500 to $800. But
very true.
If you're like being responsible, you're still dropping $250. That's the crazy part. You got like 6 items in the basket. You're like, how did I get to $250? But
so true.
But what does that mean for all of the crypto native companies like iTrust? And iTrust is the biggest name, but there's a lot of players that are looking to help you retire, looking at taking your Bitcoin and setting it aside long term and giving you either tax advantages or some kind of returns. What does it mean for like Coinbase, where hey, you can get a yield on your Bitcoin return, things like that.
You better believe they're going to do that too, by the way. And who's going to benefit? It's the countries, or not the countries, the projects and companies that are gearing towards institutional usage of DeFi. Those are going to be the companies because they're not no one does anything for free. There's always something to gain. If you're spending time and resources, Fidelity, they're making money somehow. And so the whole idea behind the Ethereum staking being allowed in the ETFs being such a big deal, for me at least, is a simple fact that Fidelity will use its customers' money to buy the Ethereum, stake the Ethereum, earn the yield, not charge a fee to the people holding the ETF, but make money on the staking, even though it's only 2 to 3%, billions of dollars, 2 to 3% for doing literally nothing is a massive, is pretty massive. So that's my thoughts on that one. Anything else you want to add to that piece of news?
No, I think it's bullish. I mean, the narrative is what it is. Set money aside long term makes a lot of sense. Fidelity's a trusted name, and I think a good provider for something like that. If my dad was asking me about it, I'd be like, yeah, do it. If he was like, hey man, I want to buy Bitcoin, throw it in a retirement account, just think about Fidelity, I'd be like, you know what, that's a great idea. Great idea.
Now, gentlemen and ladies who also like ladies, I want you to pay very close attention to this next article. Ellie Hart accidentally discards a USB drive containing 3 million pounds, $3.8 million in Bitcoin. She accidentally threw it away thinking it was an old memory stick. So I posed a question on X, gentlemen and ladies alike. If your significant other or your wife did this, would you stay with her, Rob?
Yeah, it's your own dumbass fault for throwing it away, for leaving it in the house.
What do you mean? It's your house with your wife.
Yeah, it's not like it was in the safe or you
She
throw it away. Yeah, you throw it away like
leaving
all the other
Sorry,
stuff.
bro.
What kind of question is there?
It's bad enough I got to lose $3.8 million, but for me to come home every day and be reminded of that, I can't do that.
It's your own dumbass fault for leaving it on in a USB drive. First of all, you should have it. It's like leaving a gun around and then something happens, right? And you say you have like kids running around, like you leave a gun, like practice safety here, right? You got $3 million. Like, would you? Okay, Would
Okay,
you? Okay,
hold on. Okay,
okay. Let's just
I
put this.
just
okay.
found
let's say for instance you had $3 million in cash, right?
Don't throw it away, Rocco.
No,
You had
right.
$3 million in
$1 million.
cash notes, right? Sitting in
Yeah.
cash notes,
Yeah.
and you were like, you know what? I don't want the banks to get a hold of this cash. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hide it under a pile of leaves in my backyard. It seems foolish and irresponsible. And then you get mad when your wife is all like, hey, I threw away all those leaves in the backyard.
It's not-
I was hiding my money under there.
It's not.
Like-
Listen, dude. My wife goes through and does deep cleaning sometimes. She goes into places.
Deep clean.
Then you need to have a conversation with her and say, hey, do me a favor. This right here is $3 million. Don't lose it. And then if your wife has any common sense,
Listen.
she's going to be like, what the fuck you have it in the drawer for? It's $3 million. Why is it in the drawer?
I was doing the
And then
The point is,
she would
you
be
don't
like,
just throw away something.
throw away.
if anything, I would argue that the woman should leave the guy. I would say you are a retard.
The other way around.
For one, putting $3 million on a USB stick and throwing it in
That
a
is,
random
you
drawer.
understand? That's how people saved their Bitcoin back in the day, right?
Hey,
It's on USB.
I throw away your old shirt. No, there was the USB inside my old shirt or inside a sock.
I'm sorry, man. I can't come home every day and be reminded of how dumb the decision of Ellie Hart was.
No, his decision of putting it in a USB drive and throwing it in a drawer.
Well, guess what? If he leaves her, he doesn't have to worry about that because he can get another USB
Well,
drive.
I
to
hope
put
he
wherever
leaves her
wants.
because she just doesn't need to stay with somebody that's that irresponsible. Honestly, like, okay, if you left the keys to your Bugatti, your $4 million Bugatti, you left your keys sitting outside on the top of your car, and then you just went inside, you can't blame anybody
You're
else but yourself.
assuming the USB drive was out in the open. It was probably somewhere safe, and she was deep
And where
cleaning.
here's the
safe?
thing.
What do you mean?
What I'm
If it
saying
wasn't a
is that
safe, we won't throw it away.
if you left the keys to your Bugatti on top of your car and then it got stolen, you can't blame the neighborhood. Like, I'm sorry. If you leave your USB drive randomly with $3 million in a drawer and it gets thrown away, ain't nobody to blame but yourself, bro. 100%.
He doesn't agree.
I mean, whoa, okay. Let's remove the wife from this equation, okay?
No,
No.
I think
Wait,
that
wait,
it is
let-
the
let-
major
Can I
part.
finish the topic? Remove the wife from the equation. What would happen if him and his wife went out to a movie and then his house caught on fire? Is it anybody's fault but the guy's?
That's not the same, dude. She willingly threw something away. The house burned down on accident. It's there's a difference between like premeditated murder and just murder, right? Or manslaughter. Premeditated, you
Okay.
get the
What
worst
if
prison sentence.
somebody would have
This
broken
was premeditated.
if someone would have broke into his house and stole his USB stick, would it be his fault? The house burns down, his fault.
Okay.
At the end of the day, like,
You don't get it, bro. It's fine. It's okay. Stay with her. Stay with her. Be reminded of it every single day.
my baseline principles and how I live life is that I am accountable for all the impacts in my life. And so if I lose my job, it's ultimately my fault. I don't care how much my boss hates me. If I don't get a job or I go to an interview or something negative happens to me, whatever it is, ultimately I got nobody to blame but myself. Even if it ain't my fault, I'm going to say it's my fault. And so that's how I live my life. And so if you want to sit here and be irresponsible and then point the finger at other people, that's a coward bitch ass move. That's just how I live my life. And so if a guy's going to sit here and blame his fucking wife for her throwing away something that he irresponsibly
All right, get off your
didn't-
fucking high horse here, guy. Okay,
No, it's not a high horse.
It's a joke.
It's because-
Is a joke article.
But the thing is that this is happening all the time. People are writing down their seed phrases and then throwing it in a drawer. And then that ends up getting lost, right? Or, you know what? You put your seed phrase on your phone, you lose your phone. Whatever it is that at the end of the day, like, these things are stark reminders that, like, hey, man, it is like, take your security and accountability serious. Because at the end of the day, like, ain't nobody but your own fault. That's it.
I found the lady with the really big mouth. but I'm not going to share it.
Okay, thank you. So what did you fund it for? Just to
Her content's not bad on it's cooking. It's a cooking content. She's like an influencer. Anyways, let's talk a little bit about some Ripple. Ripple debuts their RLUSD on Kraken as the stablecoin's market cap approaches $250 million. It's pretty awesome. Kraken now joins a list of other platforms already supporting RLUSD, including LMAX Digital, never heard of them, Zero Hash, haven't heard of them, Bitstamp, definitely heard of them, and Bullish, yes, heard of them. Kraken is a big one. Obviously, I don't know how many people outside of Bitstamp, or how many people know of these names outside of maybe Bitstamp, but Kraken is a tier 1 name. And so is RLUSD on the road to being on the top exchanges starting here in the US? You know, you got Coinbase, Crypto.com, obviously now with Kraken. Could we see it go global? We know they're working with the banks globally. And this all has a positive impact on the XRP ledger and in turn on the XRP token. This is pretty big, man. And of course, with the stablecoin bill coming, you got to assume that RLUSD is going to be on the list of approved stablecoins. And let's just say Tether is not on that list. And it's like Circle, RLUSD, and a couple of smaller ones. RLUSD, in my opinion, could really explode. I think Circle will explode. RLUSD would definitely explode as well, which would bring more users into the XRP ecosystem. This is pretty bullish. That's the way I look at it. Rob?
Good, man.
Good.
Quick rise to $250 million. Still a lot of room to run. Circle, which is, obviously in far second place, far behind Tether, $60 billion market cap. So a lot of room to run. You need to get in on Coinbase, on Binance. Those are the big names there. I think that's only time before you get on there. But then after you get the big listings, you got to have market adoption, right? You got to be the one that people go to. There's a reason that Circle is behind on Tether, and it's not because of listings, because people just rather transact in Tether. That's the comfortable network. That's the one that people use. And most networks that offer Tether usually have Circle as well. But Tether's the go-to choice. It's the default. And so my question is, even when Ripple and RLUSD gets the listing for Coinbase, Binance, will we find ourselves in a situation where, hey, the big movers in stable coins are Tether, Circle, then maybe XYZ, and then Ripple all the way at the bottom? Yeah, I think that's what we're going to have for a little bit of time. And, what's going to make Ripple stand out? What's going to make RLUSD stand out? Hopefully, I'd like to see that one grow, right? It's going to be beneficial for Ripple and XRP. You do use a fraction of XRP with each transaction. But
yeah, brings real utility and use case to the XRP token, not just speculation. I closed a poll. I did a poll. Will you be tuning into the Trump tariff press conference at 4? And almost 80% of you said yes, out of 221 votes. So that being said, I will be streaming that press conference live at 1 p.m. Pacific, and then we'll be rolling right into the trading show. And so we'll be covering it live. We'll be taking a look at some charts. We're expecting some volatility, seeing if any opportunities arise for us to make a little bit of money trading. So I'll be live today at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, right here from the studio. And so if you want to watch the tariff press conference and you want to tune into some crypto and trading, this is going to be the channel you're going to want to be on. And so spread the love. Tell all your friends and family to come join us here in about another hour and a half. I do want to talk about this. Some more, I guess, big company news. Van Eck officially files for the first BNB ETF in the U.S., managing 115 billion in assets, targeting the fifth largest crypto, which of course is BNB. The proposed ETF, if approved, would be the first of its kind in the United States, providing institutional investors with direct exposure to Binance Coin. Now, BNB has been heating up.
You think it'll get approved? I think if there's one denial, I think this is the one, right? Offshore company. It's a centralized. It'd make a hard argument to say that's decentralized and not it's obviously as market manipulation, which is probably coming from Binance's own platform. I honestly don't think that a BNB would get approved. I think that we see the likes of Solana and XRP and, Avalanche and, Cardano, Hedera. Those all get approved, in my opinion. I just find it hard to believe that they would approve BNB, man.
Because of Binance?
I mean, because of everything we mentioned, right? As market manipulation, it's not decentralized by any means. It's the supply is centralized in the control of the parent company, which also is the bookmaker.
Can't you argue the same thing about Ripple?
No, they don't own an exchange. They don't.
No, I mean from the terms of the token.
You can sit here and be like, hey, you know what? Solana's not that decentralized. I'm just throwing things at you. You can say Ripple has got a centralization of their own project, their own token, right? Their own coin. Cardano is, has X, Y, and Z, right? But there's not much anything, but when you look at Binance, it's kind of like it's got everything that you don't want in an ETF. Centralization. It's an offshore Chinese company for the most part. Well, offshore Asian company with with a lot of ties to high ranking and prominent figures in China. And so from a regulatory perspective, they already, you see like what's going on with TikTok. They're trying to ban TikTok because it's a Chinese company.
By the way, you see Amazon is looking to buy TikTok. They're putting in a bid.
So yeah, and then on top of it, we know, me and you both know, there is massive market manipulation as well.
Don't put words in my mouth.
In Binance, BNB token. And its number one trading books, the one that has the most volume, is it's on its own platform. So, and then you got the history of FTX and its own FTT token. I don't know, man. I genuinely don't think it passes. I don't think it gets approved.
It's interesting. But remember, Binance US did get approved to come back to the US. And I honestly think eventually we're going to get the OG Binance in the US. I really do. And so if that happens, but I don't think it's going to happen until we get some sort of like regulatory framework, like a FIT21 bill, not the stablecoin bill, but something more that kind of encompasses all of crypto. If that happens, watch out Coinbase, watch out crypto.com, Kraken. But again, I'm a true believer in competition is very important because, you look at the fees Coinbase takes, and I use Coinbase, their fees are super high. The spread, the fees, it's just not, it's not practical when you're doing $10,000 trades at a time. To spend that kind of money it's pretty damn expensive. And so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think Binance eventually. Yeah.
Did want to give a little shout out to the Rumble community. You got 18 live viewers over there. So a nice little show up for Rumble. We had Griffin Stefan or 7, and then also Darklight. And then on our YouTube, I saw Tyler Key said he's new. Let's go. What's up, Tyler? To all of you, hola! Welcome.
All right, guys. Highly recommend you go join our Discord. Go get VVIP certified so you can join our trading group where we have scalp signals, swing signals, and of course our trades as well. We're making money. Come join us. Again, I'll be doing the Tariff-a-Palooza at 1 p.m. Pacific. We'll be covering the press conference and we'll do some charts and trading as well. So come join me and we'll be watching that live. Also, if you haven't picked up your tickets for Bitcoin Las Vegas, pick it up. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're planning a lot of exciting things here.
Use the code OLA, link in the description. Save 10%. And anyways, just come out and hang out with us in Vegas. You got an excuse. If your wife or husband or hubby or whatever it is, they say, what you going to do down there in Vegas? I don't trust you. Be like, look, I'm going to a Bitcoin conference. I'm educating myself on the future of finance. And then come out here and hang out with strippers and us. Thank you.
What? My high neck brother and his hairless chested friend. Good afternoon. Definitely hairless chested friend ain't me because I got some hair on my chest. So I got to be the high neck guy. Do I really have a high neck?
Yeah.
I do?
Like an ostrich.
Oh, an ostrich. All right,
go.
all right, you peacock. Rocco, spin us out of here, babe. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We appreciate every single one of you. Come join me in about an hour and a half if you want to see what Trump has to say. Is he going to tank the markets? Is he going to pump the markets? We'll be covering that live here on the show. Come join me until tomorrow. Peace.
Sin City, crypto. Everybody know what we here for. Entertainment and info. Gonna show you how to get that big dough. So every day stay tapped in. For big facts, no capping. With Bitcoin, if you're in, then you win. We divide the pie with no fraction. It's Big Rob, David. I split the game, but they gave it. Name the coin that's your favorite. I got dry powder, why save it? To the OGs, new beginners. Special shout out to the well members. Buy the dip, sell winners. Ain't really nothing you can tell sinners. Tune in for the latest new flavors. They gonna teach us mean coins. They polarizing like barbecue chicken pizzas. I laugh with a major grin. Laggers, we trade them in. Baddies, they came to sin. And sinners gon' play to win. Screaming, hola, till my bags are flowing over. Hold ya to the moon and to the sun.